The world has just been shaken by a heartbreaking announcement from the royal family, one no one ever imagined would come. After years of carefully staged appearances and measured words, the palace has confirmed devastating news that has left the public stunned and sorrowful. This revelation not only opens a painful chapter in royal history, but also casts grave uncertainty over the monarchy's future. So, what truly happened behind the palace walls? The truth is both shattering and deeply unsettling. A day when whispers grew louder than tradition, and an unexpected declaration sent shockwaves through the palace. What should have been an ordinary morning, marked by polished rituals and rehearsed smiles, froze into tense silence. The royal press secretary, pale but composed, delivered a stark statement with no introduction. Instantly, speculation spread. Was it illness, abdication, or something more? Yet none of the guesses prepared the public for the truth beginning to emerge. Cameras captured the family's unease. Prince William's jaw tightened, his clenched teeth betraying stress beneath a calm exterior. Catherine appeared steady, though her eyes revealed concern and resolve. King Charles, frail and withdrawn, seemed diminished by his condition, while Queen Camilla was conspicuously absent. That silence, no appearances, no reassurances spoke volumes, raising far more questions than answers. Behind palace walls, it became undeniable that the king's health was far more fragile than admitted. Rumors of his weakening strength had circulated for months, but the truth could no longer be concealed. As the weight of this reality settled, another surprise unfolded. A bold initiative unveiled not by Charles but by William and Catherine, the Diana Initiative. Presented as reform, its meaning stretched beyond charity or modernization. It is, but I've had a small run-up to it all in the last 6 months. And next to it, Charles and I can't go wrong. He's there with me. By invoking the late Princess Diana's name, the couple reignited a legacy that had never dimmed. Diana, who died August 31st, 1997, remained the people's princess remembered for compassion, courage, and empathy. Linking her memory to a forward-looking initiative was both tribute and declaration. A reminder her influence still shaped the monarchy decades later. The reaction was immediate. Social media flooded with images of Diana hospital visits, confrontations with paparazzi, candid interviews. The public embraced the initiative as a hopeful new chapter, though it cast a shadow over Camilla, who spent years repairing her image and officially became queen beside Charles in May 2023. Her absence from events, speeches, and mentions spoke volumes. Was it choice, strategy, or the reality of shifting royal dynamics? Insiders suggested Camilla opposed the Diana Initiative, fearing it could blur the monarchy's message. But with Charles weakened, her objections held little weight. William and Catherine seized the narrative, shaping speeches and leading the initiative not as heirs in waiting, but as active leaders. Portraits of Diana were restored, her charities revived, and her vision for mental health and empathy echoed through official statements. Meanwhile, Camilla's standing grew fragile. After years of effort, she risked fading into irrelevance as whispers of a post-Camilla era spread. Whether this marks a new royal order or merely a fleeting adjustment remains uncertain. But one truth is undeniable. William and Catherine have stepped forward decisively, weaving Diana's memory into the present and reshaping the monarchy's story in real time. And as the world watches, one question lingers. Was this all carefully orchestrated, or has history forced its way back through the cracks of tradition? What secrets stir behind the crown and how will they change everything? Stay locked to your screen. Whispers of a shifting crown echo through Buckingham Palace. Silence often speaks louder than words. The announcement may have sounded polished, but beneath the careful phrasing was a storm no crown could conceal. This was not only about King Charles's health, though that shadow weighed heavily. It was also about the subtle transfer of power within the family itself. Courtiers spoke of sleepless nights, tense councils, and a monarch who stood firm in public but bore regret in private. The so-called Diana Initiative, though presented under Charles's name, was far more than philanthropy. To the public, it revived the spirit of a woman they'd never stopped adoring, the princess who embodied compassion and connection. But for Charles, it tore open wounds he had tried to bury for decades. Every cheer for the initiative echoed as a quiet reminder of mistakes past. Diana's memory was no longer distant, it lived on through her son and daughter-in-law. William's resolve and Catherine's calm strength reflected her values with striking clarity. Together, they reminded the world of what had once been lost. For Camilla, the announcement felt like quiet erasure. After years of rebuilding her image, she found herself once again overshadowed. Some wondered if her absence from public moments was coincidence or choice. Others whispered her influence was waning, her place shrinking as Diana's legacy reclaimed center stage. William, meanwhile, never demanded the throne, yet his presence filled every room. Without asking, he redefined the monarchy modern, empathetic, closer to the people. Insiders hinted much of the initiative's language was crafted not by Charles's advisors, but by William and Catherine. If true, this marked a turning point. The heirs no longer waiting, but steering the monarchy in real time. For Charles, the realization was painful. His reign, freshly crowned in May 2023 at Westminster Abbey, was already being reshaped by forces beyond his grasp. His legacy, once guarded, now bound to the memory of the woman he once sought to erase. As for the monarchy's future, the question is no longer if William will lead, but what secrets lie in the rewriting of Britain's monarchy. Stay tuned. The secret rewriting of the crown has already begun. The palace expected continuity, yet beneath the polished surface, power had already begun to shift in silence. Meetings once directed by King Charles slowly drifted toward his. Before long, Kensington Palace, not Clarence House, became the address journalists turned to for answers. There was no decree, no formal handover, yet the message was clear. The weight of the monarchy had begun to shift. Prince William, once seen as cautious and restrained, now moved with a focus that felt deliberate and undeniable. His tone carried fewer jokes, his manner sharpened into discipline. Behind the doors, insiders whispered of him drafting strategies not in haste but with precision, more like a general, planning a campaign of legacy than a prince waiting idly. This was no rebellion. It was not even loud. It was instead a takeover so silent it almost seemed accidental. Yet those watching closely knew better, and William was not alone. At his side, Catherine, the Princess of Wales, stepped forward with a natural authority that needed no crown. Her visits to hospitals, schools, and communities were not symbolic duty, but genuine connection, where Queen Camilla once relied on careful appearances to build influence. Kate had forged something far stronger. Each gesture, each smile, each quiet show of compassion reinforced her role as the monarchy's stabilizer in transition. The contrast was impossible to ignore. Camilla, who had once fought fiercely for her place and finally stood crowned beside Charles in 2023, now seemed increasingly absent. Her name slipped from headlines. Portraits quietly disappeared from certain offices. Charities tied to her saw waning coverage. Allies stepped back, reassigned, or retired. To many, her silence looked less like choice and more like exclusion. For a queen, irrelevance can sting deeper than criticism. Even Ray Mill, her private sanctuary in Wiltshire, no longer felt like refuge. Once a place of escape, it became subject to rumors of uninvited attention and leaked papers. Whether true or not, the whispers painted a portrait of isolation of a woman once at center stage, now edged into the shadows. Meanwhile, William and Kate quietly rewrote the royal narrative. Their influence was not declared in proclamations, but revealed in gestures, in warmth. In their ability to embody ideals once bound to Princess Diana, the Diana Initiative, echoing her compassion, was not only remembered, but revived, becoming the living heartbeat of a new chapter. King Charles remained the sovereign, yet to many he seemed more like a portrait than a ruler, allowing change to unfold rather than steering it. To Camilla, that distance felt like abandonment. To William and Kate, it was an opening, and so the whispers grew louder. Perhaps the monarchy was not in decline at all, but undergoing a quiet rebirth. Its rhythm now set not by titles, but by the steady presence of William and Kate. In this reshaping of royal power, the crown was not slipping, it was being quietly refitted. The world began to ask whether the true queen-in-waiting had already begun her reign in every way but name. But what happens when silence grows heavier than crowns? Could secrets already be shaken the monarchy? Stay with us, because when silence spoke louder than crowns, the announcement was never made in Buckingham's grand halls. Every corridor felt it. The ripple moved not through trumpets or decrees, but through absence. For Charles, who waited more than 70 years for the crown, this silence was more piercing than words. It was not oversight. It felt deliberate. Behind closed doors, meetings multiplied, schedules shifted, but the king stood on the margins of decisions already made. The Diana Initiative, whispered into headlines, spread across front pages. Not rebellion by name, yet rebellion in effect. It placed William and Kate firmly in the spotlight, leaving Charles on the edge of his own reign. His first reaction was not fury, but disbelief. Could compassion itself be wielded as strategy? When father and son finally sat together at Clarence House, the air was so heavy it seemed to bend silver. Charles, weary but unyielding, demanded to know why he had been bypassed, why the crown's image had been guided without him. William, calm and steady, offered no apology. His words were brief, but enough to redefine their bond. This isn't discussion. It's strategy. That moment cut deep. Charles, forged by ritual and caution, clung to continuity. William, raised in the glare of scandal and tragedy, saw survival in speed, change, and resonance with the public, now not tomorrow. For Charles, it was impatience. For William, it was preservation. No handshake, no compromise. Only silence, sharp as glass as Charles left the room. Staffers whispered the balance had tipped. Courtiers adjusted tone. Advisors drafted speeches that leaned toward William's vision. Aides began treating him less as a prince awaiting duty and more as a leader already carrying it. No coronation marked it, yet influence had shifted. Power, once rooted in the throne, was drifting quietly toward the next generation. But what secrets lie beneath this silent rivalry? How will they shake the monarchy itself? Stay connected. The whispers of rivalry grew clearer. The first spark was not from a decree, but a single sentence. At a luncheon, Queen Camilla, smiling lightly when asked about the Diana Initiative, replied, "The monarchy has always served with dedication. We don't need to invoke the past to prove it." To some, harmless formality. To others, unmistakably a veiled strike not only at Diana's legacy, but at the woman now carrying her torch, Catherine. Within hours, headlines blazed. Social media dissected her remark. Analysts called it proof of an unspoken rivalry, the kind Buckingham fears most, but cannot silence. And so, the questions spread. Was Camilla defending tradition or drawing her battle lines? Or defending herself? By the time opinion polls surfaced, the pattern was undeniable. The public was not neutral. Admiration for Kate, already high since the launch of the Diana Initiative in early 2024, soared to new heights. Yet Kate did not answer with force. Instead, days later at a modest charity event linked to the initiative, she stepped to the microphone. No lengthy rebuttal, no sharp tones, just a single sentence. "This work isn't about the past. It's about the future we build together." Calm, poised, devastating. More than a reply, it was a reframe, a subtle reminder that while Camilla clung to stability, Kate stood for transformation. The contrast was stark. One queen, rooted in machinery and ritual, steady but rigid. Another woman, not yet crowned, speaking with empathy, modernity, and vision. The public noticed. Commentators speculated openly, was this simply a clash of styles or the early outline of a power struggle? Behind palace walls, aides scrambled to project unity, but insiders hinted otherwise. Kate's influence was no longer limited to ceremonies. She was shaping conversations, steering strategy, and in her quiet way, redefining what leadership within the crown could mean. To women, two futures. And while the palace projected calm, the public had already begun choosing sides. But what truly fuels these whispers of a royal rift? And how deep does it go? Stay with us. Whispers of a royal rift. They began rippling through the palace long before the public heard them. Not rumors of fashion or missteps, but something deeper, unsettling. A quiet conflict unfolding in plain sight. Moments when Princess Anujali, the emblem of restraint, let her composure slip. Her frustration sharp enough to pierce centuries of etiquette. Was it mere family disagreement, or cracks in the crown's very foundation? For those who know Anne, her defiance is never spectacle. When she challenges, it is principle, not vanity. And this time, her target is no minor courtier, is Queen Camilla herself. To Anne, monarchy is not pageantry alone, not balcony waves or titles. It is service. And anyone, even a queen, who endangers that mission will meet her defiance. But Camilla is no stranger to battle. Her life was forged in fire tabloid scorn, scandal, relentless scrutiny. From vilification in the press to walking into Westminster Abbey in 2023, she has endured, adapted, and survived. To imagine she would bow to Anne's sharpness is to underestimate her entirely. If Anne embodies blunt honesty, Camilla embodies resilience and strategy. Together, they represent forces colliding in one of the monarchy's most delicate moments. Their tension is not new. Insiders say it simmered for decades. Long before Camilla officially joined the firm, the roots run back to the 1970s, when Anne's heart belonged to Andrew Parker Bowles, dashing officer admired for charm and charisma. Their romance stirred talk of marriage, but the Act of Settlement of 1701 blocked the path. Andrew was Catholic. To marry him meant forfeiting her royal status. Their love, however deep, could not outlast the law. Camilla's later bond with Andrew and eventually with Charles twisted matters further. Overlapping affections grew into lifelong entanglements that reshaped the monarchy forever. Those old scars, those betrayals and compromises, now haunt every clipped exchange. Anne's disapproval is not mere stubbornness, it is history carried forward. And Camilla's defiance is not vanity, is the survival instinct of a woman who fought too long to vanish quietly. This is no tabloid squabble. It is a cold war of influence, loyalty, and legacy. The world watches each silence, each absence, each strained smile, wondering, is this an old wound resurfacing, or a monarchy shifting beneath its own weight? The truth is that their rivalry is about more than crowns. It is about who defines the monarchy's future, and who will be remembered as its true guardian. But what secrets still hide behind the crown? And how will they shake the royal family? Stay glued. Shadows behind the crown. What is certain is that from this moment forward, nothing in the monarchy feels simple. The institution, bound by centuries, now stands caught between loyalty, memory, and power. At the storm's center are two women, Princess Anne and Queen Camilla, whose shared history runs far deeper than polite smiles. Their story reaches back to 1973, when Anne wed Captain Mark Phillips, while Camilla married Andrew Parker Bowles. Yet even then, Camilla's heart was tied to Charles and Charles to her. By 1981, when he wed Diana, their secret bond had already routed itself, leaving behind sorrow and one of history's most infamous love triangles. For years, Camilla bore the weight of being branded the villain. The woman blamed for Diana's unhappiness. She was hated, ridiculed, ignored. Yet she endured, rebuilding her reputation with patience and calculation. Anne, steadfast and loyal to her brother, never lost sight of duty. She saw the damage, remembered Diana's pain, and perhaps never forgave Camilla for her role. Even after Charles and Camilla's 2005 marriage, blessed by the late Queen, Anne kept her distance polite, never warm. Once, she bluntly remarked Camilla could never be queen in her heart. Time softened edges, but never erased them. Camilla's steady devotion, her charitable work, her calm presence beside Charles, earned cautious respect. The frost-thawed gestures softened, but the divide never vanished. Recently, tension flared again in plain sight at London's Great Hall, where Camilla was honored for her work in literacy. The grandeur carried strain. Camilla walked with regal grace. Anne, with dignified composure, their gestures told stories. When Camilla offered Anne the lead, Anne declined, letting her go first. Small, yet symbolic. Days later, the palace announced Camilla would miss a royal performance due to a chest infection. Routine, perhaps, but the timing sparked questions. Why withdraw so soon after such ceremony? Was it illness or something heavier? Meanwhile, Anne pressed on with duties in New Brunswick, her silence fanning speculation. Was this clash of personalities or principles? Anne, the embodiment of order and duty. Camilla, who fought from scorn to acceptance. Rumors swirled of legal disputes, subtle power plays. Perhaps nothing dramatic will break. Or perhaps this is the monarchy's next storm. Behind pageantry lies a web of rivalries. Each glance, absence, word matters. And as the world dissects every moment, one truth remains. The monarchy may be facing its quietest yet most dangerous test from within. So, what do you think this tragic announcement means for the monarchy's future? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to stay tuned. and don't forget to stay tuned.